Betrayal show. My name is Jenny Rochelle, and for those of you who don't know me, I am a life coach and spiritual director and yoga teacher and I specialize in betrayal trauma. I'm a betrayal trauma specialist. So that means I support women, specifically women. At this point, I'm open to the idea of working with males in the future. But I work with those who have discovered that their husband or their beloved is a sex addict or has betrayed them, and they are suffering and trying to recover from betrayal trauma, which is real and terrible. And so, if that is you, if you meet that criteria, then just give me a little wave in the comments so that I know who my people are out in the world. Today, we're going to be talking about that trauma piece of it and how it shows up for you. And the title of this was, how do you come back from being triggered? And I want to talk about sort of like what a trigger is. And hopefully, if you heard that or you read that and you resonated with it, you're like, oh, yeah, triggers are a big deal for me. And if you've been on this path for a while, I think you know what a trigger is. So let's talk about triggers. I like to think, in my community we joke that like trauma is the gift that keeps on giving, and specifically it's triggers. It's triggers are the way that gift shows up repeatedly. And so a trigger is when you find yourself and basically your nervous system has been triggered. Your nervous system has been set on high alert. You've probably gone into fight or flight mode. So, if you look back, there's a few episodes ago, I talked about the different stages of that we all find ourselves in, like a variety of different stages. Our nervous system at any given moment, we're in one of 5 different nervous system conditions. So triggers are when you go into fight or flight, and you may or may not know why it happened or even be aware that you're triggered until you're a few minutes into it and you're all like, oh my God, I'm super triggered right now. And then you can kind of back into it and try to figure out why you're triggered, like what the specific cause of it was. So, like, there's some scientific reasons why it happens. So, on one level, we've talked in the past about the brain and what our brain does, and triggers are like this combination of when our brain and our body kind of hijacks what's going on. Um, and they have really good intentions. Right? They're trying to keep us safe. But they're trying to keep us safe in the same way that they kept us safe when we were like living in the jungle or on the plains of Africa in the savannah, and there were actual, predators with teeth and claws out to get us. And now our body and our brain team up to act in that same way when it's not usually that immediate actual physical danger. So what happens, let's go back a little bit. So triggers are usually tied to a specific person. So that's a tricky thing. It could be that your husband just triggers you to be around him because of the disclosures and the discovery and the painful things that now your brain and your body associate danger with the person that you're living with. And that's really tricky. And just want you to say it is 100% valid. And if you feel that way, you are a normal girl. It's not your fault. And, it's then if you're going to stay married, and even if you're not going to stay married, if you've got a co-parent, you got to be around this person. You have to learn how to regulate your body in response to that. And that could also mean limiting contact, like limiting the amount of interaction that you have with him. Don't make eye contact with him. Like when you're talking to him, that was something that I had to do for a while. And, now that we're several years out from divorce, like it's gotten easier, but still sometimes it's like if I spend too much time around my ex, or I feel like I have talked with him about chatty personal things, sometimes my body's like, not safe, not safe, not safe, Jenny. And then I have to remind it, okay, I'm safe, everything's okay. And then I go through like certain steps to calm my nervous system down. So, person, place, thing, event, gets wired in our brain. We've talked together about what wires together, fires together. So that's what it means. At some point, something bad happened to you. A disclosure, a discovery, probably. And then you associate that, either discovery or if some information that you got in a disclosure is tied to a person, place, or thing. When you encounter that, your brain has now wired together danger and that thing. And so you can encounter it, and all of a sudden, whoo, you're in fight or flight, right? All of a sudden, your nervous system goes off the rails, and you may or may not even be aware that that's happening, right? It's like maybe you drive by a specific restaurant where you know that your husband took an affair partner, and you found that out in disclosure, or just something like that, and all of a sudden your body's like, whoo, and it's like into fight or flight mode, heart's pounding, can't think, nervous, upset, all of those super anxious feelings. And if you're not aware of it, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm freaking out and I have no idea why. And so learning to recognize when that's happening, and then learning to piece together, and you have to become like a little bit of a detective if you could try to figure out what the specific thing is. But if you can't, then you really just have to dig deep. And this is when they talk about all the yogis and the mindfulness people about being in the present moment. That's when that becomes super powerful. And you just sit in the middle of where you are, in the center of yourself, and you have to remind yourself over and over again, nothing bad is happening right now. Nothing bad is happening right now. And you practice your deep breathing, and you do all these body calming techniques that we'll talk about as well, to just sort of to try to get everything back online, right? But like, that's really easy for me to tell you to do that. And I also know for a fact that, like, when my brain gets super hijacked like that, and then my body gets involved, when the two of them have teamed up, it's really hard to come back from that. Like, absolutely you can do it, but I just want to validate it's hard. It's not as simple as just saying, oh, I know I'm not actually in danger right now. I know something bad is not happening right now, and so now I'm going to be all calm again. It's not that easy, because what happens is your nervous system is always hypervigilant. When you have PTSD, and if you're surviving a sex addiction and betrayal, like, there's a high correlation between that and the symptoms of PTSD and experiencing PTSD. So when that happens, your body, you become hypervigilant. So it's like you're literally walking through, Africa, the jungle, or forest where there's bears, whatever it is, or you're swimming in the ocean and there might be sharks around, and your body's like, whoo, it's on super high alert, scanning all the time for danger. Where's the danger? Where's the danger? Where's the danger? And then something can happen in the field. It can remember something or see something or some tiny thing. And it's like, oh my God, there's danger. There's danger. There's danger. And it goes into fight or flight. So your body is doing this before your brain is aware that it's happening. Your body is going into fight or flight. And then your brain's like, oh, my heart is pounding. My stomach's upset. I feel nervous and tingly all over, like I want to run, like I've got adrenaline going through my body. Oh my God, there must be something terrible happen. Like, then your brain wants to make up a story for how your body and your nervous system is reacting. And so then it starts to make up a story. Oh, something bad is happening right now. And then it might be something specific, or it will probably latch onto something, that has to do with your relationship or the discovery or something in the moment. And it starts to make up this story that may or may not be true. I think most of the time, like, it's not true, but that's where you got to dig deep and say, okay, nothing bad is happening right now. But I just first want to acknowledge that once that happens, right, once your body is in fight or flight and your brain has made up a story to corroborate what's happening in your body, like, that is real, and it is hard, and it is not as simple as saying, nothing bad is happening right now. I know rationally that nothing bad is happening right now, because these two things are, they're like running through the forest as fast as they can at this point, and they think a bear is after them, or whatever the story is. So, like, that's the main thing I wanted to tell you today is, like, first of all, normal girl, like your body is trying to protect you. That's what it's supposed to do. But like I said, it's reacting like there's a giant bear or tiger or something running after you. And there's not, probably. There's not. But also, like, because it gets even more complicated because if you're still living with this person, who has betrayed you and hurt you, it is kind of like you're living with a bear or a tiger in the room. That's how your body and your nervous system and your brain is responding to that situation, and it's trying to protect you. So, like, if you're gonna stay, or even, like I said, learn to be around them after you're divorced, if you're co-parenting, and also because you're going to continue to be triggered by other things in the world. Even if you completely get divorced, completely cut your husband out of your life, he's not your ex-husband, if you don't have kids, whatever, your body's still going to sense and interpret danger in your environment when you start to date somebody new, or other just sort of random things will happen in the world. And so it's super important to learn to regulate your nervous system. So today we're sort of talking about two elements of the Surviving His Sex Addiction Guidebook, which if you haven't got it yet, xoxoguidebook.com, you can download it, it's free. It talks about all of these things, not in this much detail, but it does talk about it. And it will get you on my list, my mailing list, because I talk about this stuff every week and I send out love letters every week. But Surviving His Sex Addiction, xoxoguidebook.com. You can go there and download it. But so there's two elements in there. I'm sort of combining the first two, safety and self-regulation, because those things really go super hand in hand. When you're feeling unsafe, learning to regulate yourself is super important. And so I'll talk about in that guidebook some specific tools. Super quickly, like the easiest one is called the discharging breath, which like you breathe in through your nose and then out through your mouth like a straw. And like when you inhale and then exhale, and anytime if you make your exhale longer than your inhale, it engages your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the feel good, safe and social, I'm going to calm down and be in my body part of your nervous system. So just doing that as many times as you need to. It also helps like push that discharge, that charge, that energy, that nervous fight or flight energy that's caused by the adrenaline that's now pumping through your body. It helps push it out of your body. So just keep doing that over and over again. And then the other thing that I talk about in the guidebook is like paying attention to your senses. So if you can just sit in a quiet place, you don't have to close your eyes, okay? Because I know that might be really scary for you. It's scary for a lot of people who've experienced trauma. You don't have to close your eyes, but just sit and maybe just keep them a little bit closed, and just stare at one place, and try to take some of those discharging breaths over and over again. Slow your breathing down. Relax your pelvic floor, which I know sounds a little bit weird, but your pelvic floor is tied to everything in your body, coming into your gut, coming into the back of your brain. And one of the first things we do when we're in fight or flight is we tense up all those muscles, right? We do. So relax your pelvic floor, deep breaths, and then just start to pay attention to the 5 senses in the room. Like, I'm never going to remember the 5 senses, I never can. But like, what are 5 things that you hear in the room with you? What are 5 places that your body is touching your environment? Where's your butt? Where's your legs? Where's your back? Are your hands on your pants? Like, pay attention to the sensations. Like, all these pants I put on are super soft because I'm all about nice sensory experiences for myself. It's a way that I calm and regulate myself. So just go through your 5 senses and notice 5 things if you can, or as many as you can. If you do that, it literally brings you back into your body. Like, that's what we say when we mean being embodied and grounded. Grounds you back into your body and into the present moment, what's happening right now, and like really experiencing all of those sensations head on. So those are 2 of the easiest ways. I love to teach those to ladies. Deep breathing, just paying attention for just a few minutes of like what's going on in your environment, and that will ground you and help bring your nervous system back online, because it's been hijacked. It'll help your brain come back online to where you can go, oh, Okay, I have literally scanned my environment for danger, and there's not any danger, and I'm safe. I'm safe. Nothing bad is happening right now. So, hope that's super helpful. We'll keep talking about ways to do this because I love to talk about this stuff. I can geek out about it all day. But again, if you've not gotten it yet, go out to sexaddictionguidebook.com, download it, get on my list. I share lots of helpful tools all the time. All right, that's it. I'm going to wrap up for today. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.